I'm sorry.
Great. And next up, we have Ben from Limbix.
I need a place for my VR stand.
Maybe if I pull a chair up on.
I'll just put it down here. Okay, next. Okay, hello, I'm Ben Lewis, the CEO of Limbix, and we make virtual reality for patients. Quick show of hands, who here has tried VR before? Most of you? Okay. So you've understood what it can do and make you feel like you're somewhere else or be part of something else. We made a bet when we started Limbix that VR in health was going to be a growing field based on early adopters we saw at hospitals like Stanford and Cedars-Sinai and Johns Hopkins using VR with patients, many of whom are older adults. Why? Well, a number of reasons you might use VR in a clinical setting. You can use it for before going into surgery to reduce anxiety, or maybe right after surgery to teach you skills for coping with care. Our initial focus was on behavioral health. So putting patients at a source of distress. If someone, for instance, was afraid of heights, you can put them in a building and move them up that building and teach them coping skills along the way. But physical rehab is a growing use for virtual reality, where you can use the device and tracked controllers to help induce specific movements that grow over time to help them recover. But by far the most common use case is in pain management, where we see not necessarily specific VR content as a requirement, but rather just the concept of putting someone in a virtual reality environment can help reduce reported pain levels. And that can be very helpful in reducing the need for medication. However, and this is the thing, if you took a VR headset, an Oculus Rift, for example, which is the most popular consumer VR hardware today, and you wanted to get, let's say, my parents or my grandparents in that headset, you would have problems. You're also going to have major problems if you're doing it at a clinic or in an elderly care organization. And here's why. Number one, trying to get a high-end Windows machine up and running and maintained is a struggle for even tech enthusiasts, much less people focused on clinical care or people who are not quite as into technology. Number two, you really have problems getting the right content on there, signing up for accounts, keeping these systems updated and maintained. VR today is still an early adopter technology. And that doesn't mean it doesn't have major benefits in a clinical care setting or with elder care, but it does mean that we need adjustments to it. So we started our company out with a pretty difficult to use product just to get in the market. And then we spent hundreds of hours interviewing people that were using VR with basically with patients. And we found the problems they were facing and built a product to solve those problems. It's this. This is the Limbix VR kit, which is everything a doctor would need to put their patient in VR. And so our original market was going to clinics, and that is our primary customer today, are clinics, mostly high-end clinics that would like to offer VR to their patients. But one of the things we found with this product in our early testing was that it also solved a problem in it solved a problem with elder care specifically, where they really enjoyed being in VR, but none of the existing technologies worked for them. And that's because you're either talking about a high-end Windows machine hooked up to an Oculus Rift or Vive, which was a difficult problem, or we're talking about these standalone headsets like the Oculus Go, which just came out, or now we see the Vive Focus, Lenovo Mirage, or Gear VR and Daydream, which involve having a mobile phone. The problem there is you're asking someone to learn a VR interface, to select the content they want to select, and to navigate within that world. We bring a tablet to the equation. So the tablet hooks up via Bluetooth directly to that headset. Both the headset and our tablet are in kiosk mode, so people can use a device they're familiar with to navigate content that's designed for their use case and then to adjust it. It also helps if you have a caregiver. So one of our customers is a company that has about 1,000 people. They also they have homes, assisted living homes, but they also go into the community, into their population's homes, and they provide care in the home, mostly in the morning. And so they can bring these kits with them and then provide care, and the tablet provides an interface for that caregiver to see and control the virtual world of their patient. That makes things a lot easier. And so when we talk about using, and this is actually right now on AARP's website on the homepage, are some examples of using VR to go put an address into Google Street View and take someone back to their childhood home to bring up older memories or to go on travel. And so our kit has that content and that ability, and that tablet interface makes it really easy to do that. We work with a lot of universities and researchers to create the content that runs on this platform. And then we do validation studies with them, and then we put it into the kit. We're, again, a small team nearby in Palo Alto. Let me know if you have any questions.
Questions for Ben?
Yes?
I'd be interested in the level of rejection in people over the age of 60, 65, say 60.
The level of rejection mainly because of visual issues or discomfort?
Emotional, whatever it is. Have you ever been into an MRI where they lay you flat and they go through this tunnel, and if you're a big guy like me, it's touching you all over. Gives you the creeps, or it gave me the creeps, so I got over it real fast. And I've tried this, and I took it off immediately. And I know lots of people will do the same.
Yeah, no, that's actually an issue, right? This isn't going to be for everyone. I don't have an exact number for you. When we've tried it ourselves with the population, we have a very high acceptance rate for technology, but there are people for whom it just doesn't work. They're uncomfortable putting something on their head, or they have visual problems, so that it doesn't really work for them because of cataracts or glaucoma or something like that. And then nausea is also an issue, more so in older females than in the rest of the population, but certainly that's an issue. And so it is not going to be for everyone. It can't be the only solution anyone brings into care, but it does work for well over half the population that we've tried it on. Don't have an exact number though, unfortunately.
Do you have anybody with a medical background on your staff?
The question is, do we have anybody with a medical background on our staff? Yes, we do. We have a psychologist on our staff, director of psychology, and we also have some of the PhD in cognitive neuroscience who's helping us with the research. We also have a number of researchers we work with to design the content. So our team mostly is engineers, but when everything that's on here, especially any clinical protocols, are designed with clinicians who create the outlines. We work with them to create the content, and then they do clinical validation on top of it.
Great, thank
Great.
you. All right, next up,